Innovation is about integrating sex and gender analysis into the design of research. The operative question is, how can we harness the creative power of sex and gender analysis for discovery? Does considering gender add a valuable dimension to the work? Does it take research in new directions? So before I get started, I want to give a bit of background. Governments and universities in the United States and Europe have taken 3 strategic approaches to gender equality over the past several decades. The first I like to call Fix the Numbers of Women, which focuses on bringing more women into science. But that's not enough. We need to also fix the institutions. This promotes gender equality in careers through structural change in research organizations. And we've had a lot of action at the European level there since about 2000. And the newest one is Fix the Knowledge, or Gendered Innovations, which stimulates excellence in science and technology by integrating sex and gender analysis into research. Now, we scholars analyze things into different buckets, like these 3 fixes, but we know that all 3 of those work together, and we need to do all 3 of those things. And we have some evidence from the field of medicine that shows that if there is more diversity on the research team, there's more likelihood that people will do sex and gender analysis, or vice versa. We don't know the directionality, but we do know that there is an important correlation. So my talk today is going to focus on fixing the knowledge. It's the newest area, and it's what Gendered Innovations is all about. And I hope to leave a few minutes at the end for your questions. So if you have questions, you can be thinking about what those might be. So now let's dive in. So I don't have the slide for this particular example, but I will explain it. So Google Translate defaults to the masculine, to he said, instead of correctly saying Londa Schiebinger, she said. So why is this the case? On the World Wide Web, in the English language, he said appears 4 times more often than she said. It peaked in 1968 and then dropped to a ratio of 2 to 1 in 2000. So in that period from 1968 to 2000, we had the women's movement, we had a huge cultural revolution which brought more equality to the English language. But with one algorithm, Google wiped out this cultural revolution, and it defaults to he. And then keep in mind that when Google translates something about a woman, an active woman, as he, it's now adding he's to the internet and makes it more likely that a program will choose he. So it not only perpetuates the bias, it also amplifies the bias, which is very important. So what's the fix? Because Gendered Innovations is focused on solutions. The fix, a couple of years ago, we invited Google to one of these Gendered Innovations workshops, and they listened for about 20 minutes. They thought maybe I was from a different planet, but they listened for 20 minutes, they got it, and they said, oh, we can fix that. So fixing is great, but constantly retrofitting for women is not the best road forward. I had to ask myself, how is it that the Google engineers, many of whom are educated at Stanford, how did they get out of my university and make such a simple mistake? What are we at Stanford University doing wrong? Well, for one thing, we have a lot of gender studies, but over in my part of the university, over in the humanities and the social sciences, and not right in engineering. So we are now trying to fix that. We are adding information about gender issues, about different social issues directly to the engineering curriculum, so that in every course where it would be important, it will be included. So some products can be fixed, but what if Apple, Google, and other companies started product development research by incorporating gender analysis? What innovative new technologies, softwares, and systems could be conceived? So this point, I want to point out and emphasize again that this unconscious gender bias from the past, if we just let it run and don't do something, doing nothing means that we allow that bias to be amplified into the future. So it turns out that even though Google wanted to fix the problem, they haven't been able to. It's very complicated, and I know all the reasons why they can't fix it. And sometimes it's harder to fix things once you've set a basic platform. That's why for gendered innovations, we want people to think about the design of research at the very beginning. We humans can intervene in these automated processes, in machine learning, and so on and so forth, to create an equal society. So now there are many examples like this one. There are now many examples like this Google Translate. It was a student of mine who discovered this Google Translate issue in 2012, and there are now many, many examples like this, and there are many fixes. So let me just run through the examples because they're pretty interesting. So in Google Search, if you open Google Search and you're searching for a well-paid job, men are 5 times more likely than women to be offered ads for high-paying jobs. So why is that? Again, it's the problem with the data. Any machine or human, if they look at the data, can see that men are systematically paid more than women. Google Search wants to get the right ad to the right person. So by choosing men, the machine thinks that's reasonable, that it will have gotten the ad to the correct person.